Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. I, 28 female, was raised by super religious parents. It was a fight to be able to go to a normal college and not a Christian one with weird rules. When I did that, they said they will not be paying for my schooling until I come back to the right path. After struggling for a couple of months, a friend told me that the strip club she was working at was hiring. I have been dancing my whole life and have a good figure, so I was hired pretty fast. A few months in, I dropped out of college because I was making serious money. About 3K for a bad week and up to 11K for a really good one. When my parents found out, they disowned me. The same goes for all of my extended family except for 2 cousins. Fast forward 9 years, I own my house outright, a Tesla, don't have debt. I also own an apartment building that I rent. Stripping has a short lifespan and investments. Now, my parents contacted me. Apparently, my father lost his business during COVID. My mother has always been a stay-at-home mom. They declared bankruptcy and are really struggling. They live in an old camper. Also, apparently, my mom is diabetic now, and my dad has always had heart problems. They wanted my help. I said no, I don't have parents anymore. And furthermore, according to their religion and church, my money was earned while sinning, so to use it is to damn your soul to hell. And I really didn't want that for them. My mom started crying and my dad said that they didn't know where they went wrong with me. That was the last of it from them. A couple aunts and uncles called, but they changed their family helps family tune very fast when I asked why they weren't helping them themselves. But now a couple of weeks later, I'm starting to feel like I was an a-hole to them because a month's income from stripping would make a really big change for them. But I won't even miss it that bad. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole OP, but honestly, if I were you, I would probably still help them just this one time. And let them know that even though they are horrible parents, I still became a good person because of my own decisions and hard work, despite what they've done. Also, it might help you later with your conscience in case something happens to them after you refuse to help. They don't deserve your help, and it wouldn't be your fault, but you would still feel bad. Now for some comments. Once I read your whole post, I was convinced that you are not the a-hole. I don't understand why parents who disown their children for their life choices then expect those same children to help them later on. They disowned you. You owe them nothing. Just FYI, where parents like these go wrong is not accepting that their children have lives and minds of their own and will make their own choices. These parents expect their children to be like mini-me's. That isn't how life works. Hi, former conservative Christian homeschooled child turned pagan lesbian witch here. I also don't talk to my parents, but wasn't smart enough to get into stripping while I was young enough for it to be profitable. You have absolutely no obligation to help them if you don't want to. But if it's going to gnaw at you to not help them and it's not going to be a hardship to help them, consider this. But if you still feel bad and also want to F with their heads, help them and ask them to reconcile the fact that you are the fallen one, but you had more compassion for them in their time of need than they, the God-fearing saints, had for you in yours. Or don't, but feel good about it. Either way, they don't deserve you guilting yourself over them. Not the a-hole, obviously. You don't owe your parents anything, but you owe yourself a clean conscience. If you're going to second-guess yourself, and it sounds as though you are, just write the check and move on. You can then go ahead and forget about them again. You might want to let them know that there's nothing more for them, that this is one and done. So they best make good decisions about how they use it. You might even want to send out a mass mailing to the rest of the family, saying you're giving a one-time grant despite everything. And the only thing anyone else will ever get from you is a reminder that you helped people who treated you badly when the rest of the family showed their values through hypocrisy and selfishness. Not the a-hole. Story 2. My oldest sister is 40. She always wanted to be a mom, but some complications meant she was never able to be a biological mom. In her 20s, she met a widower with young kids and married him, admitting her intention was to become a mom through them. Her stepkids were never okay with her like that, and for the last 16 years, She has struggled to come to terms with the fact not one of them considers her their mom or embraces her like she would like. This is something she always complains about when she's around our family, especially me and our sisters. 3 years ago, one of my sisters was expecting her third child and she was going through a lot and struggling with her pregnancy. She wasn't sure they could handle a third child and worried about finances because her husband had a new job that paid less than his old one. The old one folded a few months before that, and they had already made adjustments to factor in the new household budget. My oldest sister harassed her for months about letting her adopt the baby, going as far as going to our brother-in-law about it and telling him she wanted the baby and he should talk our sister around. It never happened, but it did harm her relationship with the rest of the family. I gave birth to my second child in November and had a procedure to make sure I had no more kids. Both my pregnancies have been awful on my body, and I didn't want to risk putting myself through that again. My sister brought this up last week. She said I was selfish to sterilize myself before offering to be a surrogate for her, and that I could have given her my youngest to adopt at the very least. I told her I wanted my kids, so I would never ever give up on one of them like that. She said her dreams of motherhood were important. I told her nobody owed her motherhood though, and the way she was carrying on was wrong and concerning, and she had brushed aside our concerns before. But she needed to get some help because she can't keep demanding others give her kids. She flipped out and started screaming that, as a family, we should want to help her reach her dream of motherhood, and we should be more understanding because she gets shit on by her stepchildren and doesn't get any of the joy the rest of us have. We have been sensitive for years. We encouraged her to speak to someone countless times, but she keeps going on and it is concerning. Her marriage has felt the strain of it all. But I know I might have been harsh saying we didn't owe her motherhood, which is why I'm here. Am I the a-hole? First off, OP, your sister needs a lot of help. She is so obsessed with having children that she is turning into someone most people wouldn't even want their kids around. She needs therapy, and quite possibly medication. Second, not the a-hole. You actually put it very well. Nobody is owed motherhood. Your sister is wrong to expect others to hand it to her. The words were a bit blunt, but I have the feeling you have tried to be nice about the whole thing for a long time. And the comment about you being a surrogate for her was the last straw. It's not up to you to make her a mom. Good luck to your family, particularly her husband. Now for some comments. I get that being a parent, especially a mother in this case, is important to some people, and to not fulfill that dream is something to genuinely grieve. However, after being raised by people who felt that they were owed children, it caused a lot of generational trauma for us. We weren't seen as people as much as toys to show off, and as with most toys, we continued to lose value over time when we were no longer new. She does realize that she talks about children, not pets. This casual talking from her sounds like you have a pregnant pup at home and she wants a puppy. I think we can all imagine how she behaved around the children of her husband, and no one wonders why they do not see her as their mom. She tries way too hard and expects that everyone caters to her motherhood needs. Spoilers, sometimes even the biggest dreams won't come true. Unfair? Maybe, but that's life. No one owes her shit. Not the a-hole. Your sister has had years to explore other possibilities, such as surrogacy, not through her sisters, adoption, etc. You have given her advice to see someone on numerous occasions, and she needs to deal with the fact that she is not a mother as such. She needs to stop asking you and your sister for children, which is just plain creepy and inappropriate. She definitely needs therapy, and none of you owe her motherhood. She is basically blaming you and your sister for the fact that she doesn't have children, and that is a screenshot of her mindset. Story 3. My daughters, 14 and 16, are on the same dance team. Their team won a competition on Sunday, and we were all so excited and proud of them. After the competition, my dad suggested we go out to eat and said he would pay for whatever we wanted. Older daughter, who loves seafood, has been asking for years to go to a restaurant that has unlimited crab legs. But it's a very pricey restaurant, so we've never been able to. She immediately suggested this restaurant. My dad liked the suggestion, My younger daughter suggested we go to her favorite restaurant, a local Mexican restaurant, instead. We've been there many times, as it's much more affordable. Knowing this would be a wasted opportunity, I said my older daughter's suggestion made more sense because it was somewhere we've never been. Younger daughter complained she wouldn't like anything there, but I assured her the menu would have more than crab legs. We got there and sure enough, there were many dishes that didn't have seafood, including steak, my youngest's favorite. Even though there were dishes without seafood, my youngest daughter said she wasn't hungry because the restaurant smelled weird. I ordered a steak anyway. Younger daughter pouted throughout the meal. She picked at a steak. Older daughter was very happy and completely absorbed in the crab legs. My mom tried to talk to my younger daughter about the competition, but she wasn't responsive. At the end of the meal, we were all stuffed except for the youngest. My dad told everyone to pick a dessert to go, except for the youngest, because she's clearly not hungry. I asked my dad to leave her alone, and he did, but she was already upset. When we got home, I tried to talk to her. I explained that this was a rare opportunity and sometimes we need to let someone else have something nice. I told her I could have taken us to the Mexican restaurant this weekend. She said it's not the same, because the restaurant we go to the night of the competition is special, and we went somewhere she didn't like. I pointed out that she didn't know she didn't like it because she didn't try it. She said I know she hates seafood and that the restaurant is known for its seafood. So of course she wouldn't want to go there after a special event. She was annoyed all Monday and Tuesday but started to mellow on Wednesday. This morning she asked if we are going to the Mexican restaurant tomorrow. I said not this week because of her behavior, but we'll see next week. She wasn't happy. Am I being too hard on her? I think she was very rude to her grandparents. But I know when you're a teenager, everything feels like a bigger deal than it is. Should I have just let her behavior slide and taken her to the Mexican restaurant? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. You're teaching her a very valuable lesson here. Too many people seem to have the mentality of, when I am done being angry and move on, you all have to as well. As though her mood improving absolves her of any accountability of her actions while being pissy. A classic tactic in my house growing up. Not the a-hole. Being part of a family means sometimes, lots of times, doing something because it's what someone else really wants to do or try. And as I seem to learn the hard way all too often, rewarding sulky and petulant behavior for the short-term victory always comes back to bite you as a parent. I would hold firm on no consolation trip to the Mexican restaurant, really that now too. Now they're both on the dance team and the younger daughter should get to feel like she's being celebrated too. So maybe next time there's a family treat, it's her choice, since the older daughter made the pick this time. A brief apology note is highly effective for the teen and the grandparents. One of our sons lied to a school nurse and teacher around 3rd or 4th grade to come home early from school. They knew and hinted as much when I picked him up. Needless to say, we had a chat and he had to stay in bed the rest of the afternoon because he was sick. Except for writing those apology notes for lying and the promise not to do it again. This was the second time he was bored and just wanted to come home. I escorted him into school the next day and he apologized in person as he gave them the notes. It may sound harsh, but actions have consequences. And it never happened again. Follow through matters in parenting.